What's up, guys? Welcome to Spill the Beans. I'm up at the Mountain House this week in North Carolina, sitting down, hosting a mastermind, sitting down with a couple of legacy family members to talk a little bit about entrepreneurship, business, some of the breakthroughs that they got out of the mastermind up in Western North Carolina. So today we're gonna be sitting down with Mr. David Benson. David came into the legacy family about a year ago with a full-time job. I made him quit. He had 100 doors that he already owned, and has since doubled his portfolio in the past 12 months. So it took him almost 20 years to build. He's doubled in the past 12 months by having mentorship, coaching, the resources, and everything that are accessible to entrepreneurs. So let's sit down with David. Hope you enjoy this episode of Spill the Beans. Welcome, David Benson. How are you, buddy?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Dude. So you're a partner in this.
Yep.
In the Legacy Lodge.
Yes.
We're here hanging out, having a mastermind. Got about 20 folks here, entrepreneurs, doing some cool stuff. You get some takeaways from today?
Yeah, it's really been good.
It's
been one of the better ones actually for me.
I think so too.
I've been to 3 or 4 of these, so it's been good.
We've had some really good conversations and got in some pretty deep stuff and both like very technical type things, and then a lot of mindset. Kind of breaking old thought patterns and getting out of your own head and realizing we are all our own bottleneck, I think is really important. 100%. So, well, dude, it's awesome to finally sit down and do an episode of Spill the Beans with you. I'd love to share with everybody a little bit more about your story. I think we were talking offline. You have a very compelling story of what you've done in 17 years of being a real estate investor and having a full-time job. And just over 12 months ago, you ended up leaving that full-time job.
Right.
And you've had extraordinary results. And is it by coincidence? I don't think so, right? I think it's when you make a declaration to the universe, the universe responds. And so give me a little bit of background on, corporate you and how you got involved in real estate and kind of how you built up a portfolio of, what was it, about 100 houses, right?
Yeah.
In 17 years?
Yeah, so I mean, I did the college thing and went to school and came out and did the traditional get the W-2 job following the model, right, that works. And worked in banking for almost 20 years, doing lending, doing mortgages. So I saw kind of the behind the curtain in terms of
So you worked for a bank.
Yeah, I worked for a bank.
You worked for a bank giving mortgages to real estate investors. Right.
Okay. And I remember to this day, doing loans for guys that had 10 properties, 15, 20 properties. And I was like, they are just, they should be wearing capes. These are like superhumans, you know? And thinking I couldn't ever do that. But I kind of caught the bug. I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. That that took hold, that I was like, okay, listen, I'm going to have to do something different. So
there's something more out there,
Yeah, exactly. And I've always kind of been entrepreneur mindset. So did that. I picked up my first property. I had just turned my primary residence into a rental property. And there was a little click there because I realized that I could use that cash flow on the rental as opposed to selling it. I could use that cash flow to offset the cash flow on the new house, the bigger house. So that kind of stuck, and I was like, wait, this could work. So at that point I got more into, and this was back in like 2018, 2016 when the market had crashed. So I started getting into lease options. So I'd have people give me kind of a large down payment, and I would, because they couldn't afford it, because the market was different then. It was like you couldn't get a loan.
Much harder to obtain financing than it is today.
Yeah, much harder. So I could see the people that couldn't get loans because I wasn't giving them the loans. So I knew there was a niche there. So I started doing lease options, where they would put a large down payment down, $5,000, $6,000, and I would get the house, and then they would lease back with an option to buy. So I did that for a couple of years, and that helped me acquire some more properties. But the problem with that is they never executed the right to purchase. So that model, maybe out of 12 houses, I may have sold 2 of those.
Yeah.
So I ended up by default falling into buy and hold and just holding on to these properties, which I enjoyed. So it was some kind of mix between flipping and buy and hold and lease options. So I kind of got a little flavor of each one of those. And so anyway, I kept the W-2 job for years and years and years, working at the bank. And so the mindset was just, it's hard to step away. You know, I had a good job, good benefits. They paid me well. They took care of me. But, you know, I knew that I was still kind of a slave. I couldn't go. I couldn't be here right now and not have my phone blowing up because some deal was falling through. Some, you know, some loan was, somebody wasn't going to get their house. So that was always in the back of my head. And so I wanted that freedom, you know, that comes from being your own boss and having passive income coming in.
Why do you think it took 17 years to hit a tipping point?
I mean, honestly, I think, you know, we are...
Was this something like that happened in your personal life or anything like that? Or?
No, I mean, it wasn't. It was... this is my philosophy on it. We go 12 years of education, then we go to a higher education. So you're talking 16 years of where we're taught, trained, and educated. Get a job, work 9 to 5, work hard, put the money in a 401k, save, and eventually you'll retire and, you know, you'll be fine. But it's just not true. You know, so what clicked for me was, one, you know, coming to your mastermind, so I appreciate that. And I'll never forget being on the phone with you when you were talking me into joining this mastermind, because it was a big investment.
I was challenging you, right? I remember I was on the top deck of my house, walking back and forth, a beautiful day, and you're like, dude, this is a big number. I need to make this. I want this to be a no-brainer when I come up for a renewal 12 months from now.
Yeah. So I mean, there was that, which I couldn't. You can't take that leap, you know, for me, make that investment and not kind of be all in, you know, and you probably found that out. If somebody's investing $500, they're really not committed. But then the other part of it is I sat down, and you know, and everybody's different, but I sat down and I thought, okay, if it just went south, right? Because I'd never, up until this point, so think about this, 16 years, I'd never pulled any cash out, right? I'd never lived on it. I just always reinvested it, thinking forever and ever and ever. So at that point, I was like, okay, if it was bad for a year, again, I was a banker, working for, you know, Fortune 500, big bank, and they took good care of me. I was like, two things. Worst case scenario, I could get my job back, you know, because I was straight commission.
Because I told you that you couldn't. This is when we had the $30,000 a year program, which we no longer have. Our mastermind's $1,000 a month now. We combined them just because we had two programs. We could just offer more value, I think, the way that we've structured it now. But this was $30,000 that you signed up for. And it was like, dude, you're not allowed to have a job in this. Like if you come in, you will be ridiculed if you are still working a W-2 job in this group of 40 badass entrepreneurs. Right. So it was like, I can't let you come out if you still have your job.
Right. And that was maybe the push that I needed. I knew it was going to be okay. I mean, like part of me knew, but that it's like that last little leap over. I was like, okay, I can't show up. And I think before I came out to Key West, I put in my 2 weeks notice because I think I said that.
You said it while you were there.
Yeah. So
just recently turned in my 2 weeks notice.
I was going to say, we're making sure he quits his job.
So there was no going back. I mean, I burned the ship. So it was, I mean, I could have after a year or so, but there was too much pride.
Yeah, so for sure.
I had, you know.
But it's a good way of looking at it, man. Like, you look at it from a standpoint of, I read a book on, you know, I don't know, 8 things to ask yourself before you die, or I don't know, 8 questions that were asked to people before they died, or the lessons learned, or whatever it was. And like one of the questions was like, or one of the responses from one of the people was like, how did you make decisions? And they said, hey, I look at the best case scenario and I look at the worst case scenario. And if I could stomach the worst case scenario, and if the best case scenario is that much better, like multiplying than the worst, he goes, then I do it, right? And if you think about it, we all build it up to be this big friggin' story in our head. Dude, first of all, it's really interesting that you talk about going to school for 16 years, and then it took you 16 years in order
almost
to
as many,
retrain your brain.
Retrain your brain,
to be like, I don't need this.
Right.
Dude, that is a wild coincidence in my mind.
But it's almost like taking that pill in the Matrix too. You know, like once it clicked, which it couldn't click.
Then it was like distasteful to even go to work, right?
Oh yeah, I'm unemployable. You couldn't hire me. Like it couldn't.
And like that's such a, I think that's a big deal. So there's that portion, and then there's taking the best case scenario versus worst case scenario. Like a worst case scenario is, dude, you got 17 years in the mortgage business.
Yeah.
You're very experienced. You crushed it for this bank. Even if this bank was too prideful to take you back,
right.
you can easily go find another multiple six-figure job somewhere else, right?
Right.
So it's like, if that's the worst case scenario, and you have already 100 houses that you're cash flowing, I don't know, $10, $20, $30,000 a month on, dude, that's not a bad worst case scenario, right? Like like best case scenario, limitless financial opportunity.
Financial freedom. Yeah.
Financial freedom, being able to travel with your kids, hang out. And like, I think about that all the time. It's like there's people who are just shackled to the perceived safety of something that isn't really there. Like you can get axed from your job in 2 weeks. Like serve notice today, tomorrow. Even high value people could get kicked. Think about the job market right now. Anybody can get a job anywhere making $50,000 minimum.
Right. Yeah.
Well, 40, let's call it. Like baristas are making $35,000 to $40,000. You know, Taco Bell line workers are making $35,000 a year. Like, there's plenty of opportunity.
Yeah.
And to think like, should I not go out and build a business, and what could potentially come from doing that versus living in this world of fear, man. Like, it saddens me when I talk to people and they have that. I'm like, you gotta freaking do it.
And
you know?
see, you had the vision to see that. Like I feel like I have now. Like if anybody was to come to me and say, should I make that leap? But it's like you can't make that leap.
It's hard to see outside
because
the box.
you're on the other side looking back. You know, if you think about like if David today was speaking to David a year ago, it would be like, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, come on, man. Smack yourself around a little bit.
Yeah. Like, and it's not even, it's a no-brainer because of the financial or whatever. It's the opportunities that you don't know that you're missing out on
100%. I love
by
that.
being focused on making someone else money. Because if you think about it, I'm not working a job and they're letting me keep 100%. I have to at least be profitable. So what if I stepped away and I got to keep 100% of the profit, which is what happens. You're going to work for yourself a lot harder. And what I found too is, and this is just a little thing, but like, I don't have a problem getting up in the morning earlier than I did when I had a job. And I like my job. So it's like, I'm more motivated, and it's not just the money, you know, it's more motivated to do what I'm passionate about. And if you can live that, it's not a job.
I love it, man. And I remember getting a text message from you, I don't know, a couple months after it. And you were like, dude, I think you were here or somewhere. No, you were traveling to girls' baseball games or something like that?
No, I was either in Charleston. I might have been here. I don't remember, but I know
you're
what
like,
you're
hey,
talking about.
I'm here in the middle of the week with my family.
Yes.
I'd never be able to do this if I still had my job. Not only that, but like what happened financially for you in the past 12 months?
Yeah.
What happened to your portfolio? So you were at 100 single-family homes.
100, yeah.
And what does your portfolio look like today?
So I've got 164 doors, retail strip center. I'm a GP on a big 336 unit apartment complex in Winston. And then I'm just constantly adding. And I feel like I'm just getting started.
Picked up 64 more doors that you own wholly yourself.
Yeah.
Picked up a retail strip center. And you're a partner, a GP partner on 334 more doors in New York, or not, in North Carolina as well. Dude, in 12, 15 months.
And how many of those deals would I have missed? Probably all of them. Or I wouldn't have had the guts to do them had I not, just been able to focus in on that. And part of it is mindset too, is getting around other people that are like, it's almost like if you've never seen somebody ride a motorcycle and then you see somebody do it, you're like, oh, it can be done, or whatever the analogy is. So getting around that, I mean, just this mastermind, getting around these guys that are younger than me, they're like, yeah, I just 600,000. I'm like, what? Even now, I'm like, that's crazy, but it's a shift. It's a shift in how you think, and it's a shift in the possibility, and almost moving that glass ceiling that we all have. Tim's capable of doing this. Is Tim capable of being a billionaire? It's up to you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, we are only limited by the limitations we put on ourselves, right? We're the only ones who can limit our greatness. And it's, dude, it's a powerful story. So what does the next 12 months look like? Like, what do you see yourself accomplishing over the next 12 months? Where do you want to be? Whether it's financially, personally, time-wise.
Okay, this may sound crazy, but again, taught, trained, and educated this scarcity mentality. Save, 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 reinvest, reinvest. So as crazy as this might sound, I'm taking all my cash flow for the next 12 months. I've committed to this year and spending it. I'm not going to save anything. I'm not going to reinvest anything.
I love it.
I'm just going to, now if I sell a property, I'm going to reinvest that. But like the actual cash flow, I'm just going to.
It's awesome.
I'm going to enjoy a lifestyle.
And it's all going to be spent on fun.
Fun. I mean, I got to pay bills. So like there's bills. And then,
But like, think about this, right? Like, you can't do that unless you buy the assets first. You bought the assets. You were disciplined in buying an asset, spending money on an asset first, that then pays dividends, pays cash flow, and that appreciating, cash flowing asset now gives you enough cash to go and just blow it all, right? And the reality is, typically, depending on your loan to value and all that kind of stuff, I've just done some quick metrics, but it's usually about, for every dollar you take in cash flow, you get about $2 in principal pay down and appreciation on the property value also. So now all of a sudden you're like,
you can't outspend it.
Dude,
you can't outspend it.
Even if you spent all your money for the next 12 months, you still made twice as much of that increased on your balance sheet, on your personal financial statement.
So how
you still increase your net worth by twice as much of that amount.
How freeing is that?
It's wild.
That's freedom. That's true freedom. When you can't, it's not that you can't outspend it. That's possible, but it's a complete.
I love it. So what are we doing? Like, what are we spending the money on? You buying toys? You going on trips? Like, what's the plan?
So we're doing a bunch of home improvements. You know, finishing the back porch. Going to redo our kitchen. Go to Disney. I want to take a ski vacation. I want to buy a Maserati. You know, we'll see. Who cares? At the end of, so on December 31st.
Are you cataloging this? You're going to write everything that you spend money on?
No, I mean, I do. I just budget just because I'm a banker. That's just what I do. So I don't know what that's going to look like. But
dude, this is great TikTok content though. So, like you could do like a cut of everything you bought in 2020 with your passive income, your residual income from your real estate.
Like
it goes boom, 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 and it shows vacations, Maseratis, like all the doodads and all the toys, and then end it with like, the only reason I was able to do this is because I was disciplined in buying assets, not liabilities first. Right. I bought assets that then paid for my liabilities.
Right. Exactly. And don't get me wrong, I'm still investing. Like I'm still, doing the Burr method where you're taking it out and, pulling the equity out and reinvesting in other assets to continue to grow that cash flow. So it's really exciting to be able to say, okay, here's the cash flow this month. It's still growing. I feel comfortable at this point, even as conservative as I am, in being able to spend what I make. And it's just.
So you're moving money at the end of the month, beginning of the month, into a certain play account? Is that how you're kind of calculating it, or what are you doing?
It's kind of going into the regular account, so like pay the bills type account, and then, if there's any money left at the end of the month, then it'll accumulate. So and then it'll accumulate, but the goal being, okay, if I'm sitting there with
you got to drain it on December 30th, man.
That's right.
You got to drain it. We got to figure out something to buy, whatever is left in the account.
I'm pretty sure it's going to be dwindled by then.
Yeah.
I will start working hard and heavy if it's too high in October.
I love that, man.
Yeah.
I love that. Dude, that's a cool, exciting thing to look forward to.
Well, and the other thing too is setting up. I have young kids, right? My oldest is 7. That's a great example to set for them too. Is I want them to have a different education on money than what I got. If they want to be a doctor or an engineer or whatever, go, great.
By all means.
But fund it with assets, like you were saying. Fund it with assets as opposed to student loan debt.
They'll be one of the wealthiest ballet dancers or
Right.
American Ninja Warriors or like whatever they want to do,
yeah.
they'll at least be able to fund that by buying assets because they were given that financial knowledge. Dude, that's true legacy, right? Like that's passing down and changing generations and creating generational wealth, not by giving them money, but by giving them the insights on how to go out and do it, and then let it provide for whatever their long-term goals and ambitions are.
Yeah.
You know, no, it's awesome, man. Dude, I love it. I'm inspired, and it's amazing to see what you've done in 12 months by just going all in and making a commitment and watching how the universe has responded to that commitment that you've made. Dude, I'm excited where it's going to be in the next 12 months.
It's gonna be fun.
Awesome, brother. Well, dude, thank you for being here on Spill the Beans, man.
All right, appreciate the time.
And let's get back to the party.
Let's do it.
Awesome. Well, I hope you got a ton of value out of that episode of Spill the Beans. Please make sure, give them a follow and connect with them on social media. And if there's ways that you guys can do some business together, we'd love to see it. And if you did get some value, please share it on social media. Give me a like, give me a comment, give me your biggest takeaway in the comments below. And subscribe to the channel. The reason we do this is so we can make a bigger impact. So please do share this on any different channel that you possibly can, and give me some feedback. I'd love to hear what you liked, what you think we could do better with. Any questions that you have, post them below, and I'll do a video specifically answering some of your questions. So until next time, see you on Spill the Beans.